5 years ago, I disappeared. I left behind my house, my friends, and the woman I swore I'd love forever. But this isn't a love story. It's a story about how one night unraveled everything I thought I knew. About trust, about betrayal, and about the lies we tell ourselves to survive. Her name was Clara. Mine is Daniel. We met in college, two kids who thought love was enough to fix anything. For 12 years it felt like maybe we were right. We had a home in the suburbs, 2 kids, Sophie, with her wild curls and stubborn laugh, and Liam, quiet and curious, always hiding Lego pieces in his pockets. We were the couple people envied. Or so I thought. The night it happened, I was supposed to be in Chicago, a work conference. But the keynote got canceled, flights were a mess, and I landed back home at 8 p.m., exhausted and annoyed. I didn't text Clara. I was coming back early. I wanted to surprise her. Maybe with wine. Maybe with the apology I owed her for working too much. The house was dark when I pulled into the driveway. No lights except the flicker of the TV upstairs. Odd. Clara hated falling asleep with the TV on. I remember the crunch of gravel under my shoes, the way my key stuck in the lock, a quirk I'd been meaning to fix. Then I smelled it. Cologne. Not mine. I froze in the hallway. My stomach dropped like a stone. There's a sound the human heart makes when it breaks. Not a crack, but a hollow, airless silence. I followed the smell to the stairs. A leather jacket hung on the banister. Too big, too boxy. Clara hated leather jackets. Upstairs, the bedroom door was cracked open. I wish I could tell you I barged in, that I roared, threw punches, demanded answers. But I didn't. I stood there, cold and numb, listening to the muffled voices. Clara's laugh, soft, nervous. A man's voice, low and steady. "It's okay," he said. "You're not alone in this." I took out my phone. I took photos of the jacket, the shoes, the door. I recorded 23 seconds of audio, their murmurs, the creak of the bed, proof, evidence. My hands didn't shake, my heart didn't race. I felt nothing. Then I left. I drove to a motel and called a lawyer. By sunrise, I'd drained our savings, canceled every credit card, and filed for divorce. When the kids asked where Mommy was, I told them she'd made bad choices. I didn't let her explain. Didn't let her say goodbye. I packed their toys, sold the house, and moved us from Colorado to Maine. Changed my number. Changed my name on social media. Became a ghost. For 5 years, I fed myself the same story. She betrayed you. She chose someone else. You did the right thing. The kids stopped mentioning her. Sophie's drawings went from stick figures of Mommy and me to just me and Dad. Liam stopped crying at night. We built a new life, brick by brick, on the foundation of her absence. Then, last week, my sister Emily called. "You need to see this," she said. A link buzzed on my phone. A GoFundMe page. Clara Martinez, 38, terminal lymphoma. Funds for her final days and care for her children, Sophie and Liam. The photo showed her, pale, bald, tubes snaking under her nose. But the date stamped on the post 6 years ago. 6 years, a year before I left. The room tilted. I gripped the edge of the counter, my mind racing. Comments flooded the page. Clara fought so hard. Those poor babies. She never got to say goodbye. Her babies? My babies. I called Emily, my voice shaking. "What the hell is this?" She hesitated. "After you left, Clara tried to reach you. For months. She showed up at my door once, skin and bones, begging me to tell her where you were. I didn't know, Danny. You cut everyone off. Why didn't you tell me?" "You didn't want to know," she snapped. "You were so cold, like you'd turned into someone else. But there's more." A box arrived at my doorstep the next day. Inside, stacks of letters, all addressed to me, all unopened. Clara's handwriting. The first letter was dated 3 months before the night. "Daniel," the doctor called it, "aggressive. Stage 4. I don't know how to tell, You just got that promotion. The kids are so young. I keep imagining your face, the fear, the pity. I can't do that to you. I can't. So I'll carry it alone until I can't. I joined a support group. There's a man there, Eric. He's a nurse. His wife died of the same thing. He gets it. He listens. It helps. But I miss you. Love, Clara. The next letter, 2 weeks later. Eric drove me to chemo today. You were in meetings. I didn't want to bother you. He brought me Jell-O. The red kind you hate. I almost called you. I'm scared, Daniel. Then, a month before the end, Eric kissed me. I pushed him away. Told him I'm married. That I love you. That this, the texts, the rides, it wasn't about him. He apologized. Said he'd stay away. But I need to tell you the truth. About the cancer. About all of it. Tomorrow. I'll tell you tomorrow. She wrote that letter the day I came home early. The day I filmed her affair. The day Eric sat on the edge of her hospital bed, our bed, holding her hand as she cried about dying. I fell to my knees in the kitchen, the letters spilling around me. Sophie's artwork stared down from the fridge. A crayon sun, a green blob of grass. A stick figure family. 2 parents. 2 kids. No sickness. No secrets. Just a lie I'd painted over their memories. I called in sick to work. I drove to the storage unit where I dumped everything from our old life. Photo albums, her favorite coffee mug, the quilt her mom made. Buried at the back was her laptop. The password was still Liam's birthday. Emails, hundreds of them, to doctors, to her support group, to Eric. Eric, thanks for picking up my meds. Daniel's been working late again. I don't know how to tell him. He'll blame himself. Eric, the kids can't see me like this. I'm so tired. Eric, I'm ending the group. I need to tell my husband, this isn't fair to you. Or him. The last email, sent the morning of the day I left. Eric, I'm telling him tonight. No matter what. She never got the chance. I sat in that storage unit for hours, the fluorescent light humming overhead. Then I Googled Eric's name. He was a nurse, still worked at St. Mary's. I drove there in the dark, Sophie and Liam asleep at a friend's house. When he opened the door, he didn't look shocked, just sad. I wondered when you'd come, he said. Eric's apartment smelled like antiseptic and coffee. The kind of sterile, lonely scent that clings to people who spend too much time in hospitals. He didn't invite me in at first. Just stood in the doorway, his arms crossed, eyes wary. Didn't blame him. You look like hell, he said finally, stepping aside. The living room was cluttered with medical journals, a half-eaten sandwich on the coffee table, and a framed photo of a woman. Bright-eyed, smiling. His late wife. I assumed, the one Clara had mentioned in her letters. I didn't sit. Couldn't. My hands trembled, so I shoved them into my pockets. Tell me everything. He sighed, running a hand over his stubble. You sure you're ready for that? No. Start with the night I left, I said. He sank into a chair, his voice flat, like he'd rehearsed this. Clara called me that morning. Said she was finally going to tell you about the cancer. Begged me to come over afterward because she was scared. Scared you'd shut down, or blame yourself, or I don't know. She just didn't want to be alone. His words slithered under my skin. She didn't want to be alone. I got there around 8, he continued. She'd just put the kids to bed. She was pacing, crying. I tried to calm her down. Told her you'd understand, that you'd fight for her. He paused, his jaw tightening. Then she got a text. You'd landed in Chicago. She panicked, said she couldn't tell you over the phone, that she'd wait until morning. The room tilted. I remembered texting her from the airport. Flight's delayed. Stuck in Chicago tonight. Home tomorrow. A lie. A test. She took her meds, Eric said. They made her dizzy. I helped her to bed. She was shaking, so I sat with her. That's when you walked in. The creak of the bed. His voice. It's okay. Breathe. You left before she could explain, he said, accusation sharpening his tone. She called me an hour later, screaming. Said you'd emptied the accounts, taken the kids, begged me to find you. But you were gone. I gripped the back of the couch to steady myself. The GoFundMe, the cancer. Why didn't she tell me? Because she knew you, Eric snapped. Knew you'd drop everything, sell the house, spend every last dime on experimental treatments. She didn't want that. Not for you. Not for the kids. He stood abruptly, yanking open a drawer. Here, since you're so good at running from the truth. He threw a stack of envelopes at me. More letters. These ones addressed to Sophie and Liam. To Sophie, on your 10th birthday. To Liam, when you graduate kindergarten. To both of you, when you ask where I am. My throat closed. She wrote these? Every week. Until she couldn't hold a pen anymore. I sank to the floor, the envelopes spilling across the carpet. The one on top was labeled, "For when you forget my voice." Inside, a USB drive. Eric's anger faltered. She recorded videos, for the kids, to explain everything. I couldn't breathe. Where's she buried? He looked away. You don't get to ask that. I drove to Emily's house in a daze. The kids were still at their friends', but I needed answers she couldn't give. Why didn't you tell me she was sick? I shouted the second she opened the door. Emily's eyes filled with tears. I tried, Danny. You blocked my number, changed your email, moved without leaving a forwarding address. Clara showed up here 6 months after you left. Skinny, frail. She made me promise not to chase you. Said you'd moved on, that the kids were better off. Better off? She made me swear, Emily cried. Said if you knew the truth, you'd blame yourself, that it would destroy you. It had, just differently. That night, I plugged the USB drive into my laptop. The video loaded slowly. Clara's face filled the screen. Pale, bald, but smiling. The same smile she'd worn when we brought Sophie home from the hospital. Hey babies, she whispered, her voice raspy. If you're watching this, it means your dad finally knows the truth. And I'm so sorry. She coughed, wincing. I need you to understand. I didn't leave you. Not by choice. I wanted to stay. To watch you grow up. To be there for every scrape, every heartbreak, every stupid school play. A tear slid down her cheek. But life doesn't always let us choose. The camera shook as she reached off screen, holding up a photo. Our wedding day. Your dad. He's a good man. He loves you so much. What happened between us? It was my fault. I was scared. I lied. And he reacted the only way he knew how. By protecting you. Sophie's voice piped up from somewhere. Off camera. Mommy, who are you talking to? Clara quickly wiped her face. No one, sweetie. Go back to bed. The video ended abruptly. I played it again, and again, until the sun rose. The next morning, I took the kids to the park. Sophie swung higher and higher, her laughter sharp in the cold air. Liam dug in the sandbox, muttering to himself. Normal things. Safe things. Dad, Sophie said, dragging her feet to stop the swing. Can I ask you something? My heart stalled. Anything. Did she love us? The question knocked the air out of me. Of course she did. Then why did she leave? I knelt in front of her, my hands on her shoulders. She didn't want to. She was sick, Soph. Really sick. And I didn't know. Liam wandered over, clutching a dirty shovel. Like when I had the flu? Worse, I said. But she thought about you every day. Wrote you letters. Made videos. Sophie's eyes narrowed. Can we see them? We watched the videos that night. All of them. Clara singing lullabies. Clara reading their favorite books. Clara apologizing, over and over between labored breaths. When the last video ended, Liam crawled into my lap. Is she in heaven? Yeah, buddy. Does she see us? I hope so. Sophie sat stiffly beside me, arms crossed. You should have told us. I know. I'm mad at you. Me too, I whispered. 2 days later, I found Eric at the hospital. He was exiting a patient's room, his scrubs rumpled. Where is she? I asked. He didn't pretend not to understand. Cedar Hill Cemetery, Plot 14B. The grave was unmarked. Just a patch of grass under an oak tree. No headstone. No flowers. Eric had followed me. She didn't want one, he said quietly. Said she didn't deserve it. I fell to my knees, the ground cold and unyielding. I'm sorry, I choked out. I'm so sorry. Above me, leaves rustled. A bird cried. The world kept spinning. When I looked up, Eric was gone. That night, I dreamed of her. We were in our old kitchen, dancing to a song I couldn't hear. She laughed, her hair thick and wild, her skin warm. You have to tell them, she said. Tell them what? The truth. They'll hate me. She cupped my face. They'll forgive you. But you have to forgive yourself first. I woke, up crying. The next morning I booked 3 plane tickets. Where are we going? Sophie asked. To see your mom. The airport was crowded, but the kids didn't complain. Sophie clutched her backpack, her jaw set in a way that reminded me of Clara, stubborn, braced for battle. Liam clung to my hand, his small fingers digging into my palm like he feared I'd vanish too. On the plane, Sophie stared out the window. What if she's mad at us? She asked suddenly. Who? Mom. For not visiting. I hesitated. She's not mad, Soph. She'd understand. How do you know? Because I'm the one who deserves her anger, I thought. Cedar Hill. Cemetery was smaller than I'd imagined. Wind whistled through bare trees, tugging at the flowers I'd bought. Lilies, Clara's favorite. The grave was still unmarked, just a patch of earth under that oak. Sophie knelt first, tracing the dirt with her fingertips. Why isn't there a stone? She didn't want one, I said. That's stupid. Liam crouched beside her, placing a Lego figure on the ground. A tiny knight. For protection, he whispered. I stood back, throat tight. This was their moment, their goodbye. But Sophie turned to me, eyes blazing. You should have brought us sooner. I didn't know where she was. You didn't try. The truth hung between us, sharp and suffocating. That night, at a roadside motel, Liam woke up screaming. Monsters, he sobbed, clutching my shirt. In the closet. I carried him to the bathroom, the fluorescent light harsh on his tear-streaked face. There's no monsters, buddy. Yes, there are. They took Mom. I rocked him until he fell asleep, my own tears soaking his hair. The next morning, Eric called. They're asking about you at the hospital, he said. Clara's old oncologist. He kept something for you. Dr. Reyes's office smelled like hand sanitizer and grief. He handed me a sealed envelope. Clara's name scrawled across it. She gave it to me a week before she died, he said. Asked me to give it to you if you ever came looking. Inside was a key and a slip of paper with an address. The storage unit was cluttered with boxes labeled in Clara's messy cursive. Sophie's art, Liam's baby clothes, letters to Daniel. The last box was heavier. Inside, a velvet album, our wedding photos, and a journal. Entry 1. They say it's terminal. I can't tell Daniel. He'll crumble. Entry 14. Eric drove me to chemo again. I told him about the Lego castle Liam built. He said I should record these moments. So I did. Entry 32. I'm losing time. Woke up on the bathroom floor. Daniel was at work, the kids at school. I lied and said I slipped. Entry 47. I kissed Eric. Not because I wanted him, because I wanted to feel alive. He pushed me away. Said he won't be my distraction. Entry 56. Today's the day. I'll tell Daniel. The entry ended mid-sentence. Beneath the journal was a DVD. For Sophie and Liam, the truth. We watched it in the motel room, the screen flickering. Clara sat in a hospital bed, oxygen tubes in her nose. Hey, my loves. If you're seeing this, your dad finally found his way back. She smiled, but it wavered. I need you to know, none of this was his fault. I lied. I hid. I let him believe the worst because I thought it'd be easier. Sophie grabbed my hand, silent tears streaming. Your dad, he's not perfect, but he loves you more than anything. Forgive him. Forgive me. and live. Really live. Okay? The video ended. Sophie didn't let go of my hand. At the cemetery, the next day, we brought a stone. Simple. Just her name and dates. Sophie pressed her palm against the granite. I'm still mad. Me too, I said. But I don't want to be. Liam stuck another Lego knight beside the first. Now they can protect her together. On the flight home, Sophie leaned her head on my shoulder. Will you tell us more about her? The good stuff? So I did. How Clara laughed so hard she snorted. How she burned every meal except pancakes. How she'd dance in the rain just to make Liam smile. That night, I dreamed of her again. We were in a field, the kids racing ahead. They'll be okay, she said. Will I? She kissed my cheek. Keep breathing, Daniel. That's all any of us can do. In the morning, I found Sophie at the kitchen table, Clara's journal open. You're not the only one who messed up, she said quietly. She did too. I sat beside her. Love's messy, Soph. Sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes it's too much. She closed the journal. Can we plant a garden? For Mom? Yeah, I said. We can. We chose lilies. Sophie dug the holes. Liam dropped in the bulbs, and I covered them with dirt. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was a start. The garden became our ritual. Every Saturday, we'd kneel in the dirt, Sophie inspecting each bud with a scientist's intensity. Liam chattering to the lilies as if they'd answer. They didn't bloom that first spring. Too much rain, the neighbor said. Not enough sun. Sophie blamed me. You planted them too deep, she muttered, stabbing her trowel into the soil. I didn't argue. She wasn't wrong. Eric showed up unannounced one evening. He stood on the porch, a cardboard box in his arms, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Found these in my storage unit. Clara's things. The kids hovered behind me, curious. Sophie recognized him first. You're the nurse, she said, accusatory. Yeah, Eric said softly. I was your mom's friend. Liam peered into the box. Got any Legos in there? We sat at the kitchen table, Eric sipping coffee while the kids sifted through. Clara's belongings, old scarves, a charm bracelet, a stack of Post-it notes with reminders in her looping script. Call Dr. Reyes. Buy more apple juice. Tell Daniel I love him. Sophie held one up. She wrote about you a lot. Eric cleared his throat. There's something else. He pulled out a sealed envelope. She asked me to give this to you when the time was right. Daniel was scrawled on the front, her handwriting, shaky but unmistakable. I waited until the kids were asleep to open it. Daniel, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and you're angry, or lost, or both. I'm sorry. For the lies, for the silence, for making you the villain in a story I didn't know how to end. Remember our first fight? When I accidentally backed your car into the mailbox? You laughed, said, we'll get a new one. That's who you are, the man who fixes things. But some things can't be fixed, and I didn't want you to break yourself trying. The truth is, I was selfish. I wanted to spare you the long goodbye. The hospital, beds, the slow fade. I thought if I made you hate me, it'd hurt less. I was wrong. Forgive me. Forgive yourself. Love, Clara. I read it 3 times. Then I drove to the cemetery. The headstone felt different now. Not a monument to my failure, but a testament to her love. To our love. I traced her name, the dates too close together. You should have let me choose, I whispered. The wind rustled the oak leaves. Somewhere, a bird trilled. The kids started mentioning her casually. Mom hated broccoli too, Liam announced at dinner, pushing his plate away. Sophie rolled her eyes. Mom ate broccoli, to set a good example. They argued about it. It was the first time they'd said Mom without flinching. Eric came back. Not for me. For them. He brought Sophie a stethoscope. Liam a model skeleton. Clara said you wanted to be a doctor, he told Sophie. I was 5, she said, but she pocketed the stethoscope. We didn't talk about Clara, not directly, but he'd share fragments. She hated thunderstorms. She burned toast every single time. The kids collected these details like seashells. The second spring, the lilies bloomed. Bright white, defiant against the gray mulch. Sophie texted me a photo from school. They're not dead after all. Liam insisted we have a picnic by the garden. Mom would have liked it, he said, spreading peanut butter on crackers. We ate in silence, the sun warm on our backs. Sophie plucked a lily, tucking it behind her ear. Can we visit her again? The grave, I mean. Whenever you want, I said. I took them to Colorado, to our old house. The new owners let us walk through the backyard. Sophie stood where her swing set used to be. It's smaller. Liam found a Lego piece buried in the dirt, green and weathered. Mom probably stepped on this, he said, grinning. We drove past her hospital, the park where we'd had picnics, the diner where she'd worked summers in college. I told them stories they'd never heard. How she'd spilled a milkshake on a customer, how she'd fake a British accent when she was nervous. Sophie laughed, really laughed. At the cemetery, Liam placed his newly found Lego by the headstone. Now she has 2 nights. Sophie pressed her palm to the granite. I'm not mad anymore. Me either, I lied. But it was a start. That night, I dreamed of her again. We were in the garden, the lilies glowing in the moonlight. You did good, she said. They're better than me. They're yours, she corrected. Stubborn, kind, a little messy. I woke to Sophie shaking my shoulder. Dad, Liam's throwing up. We spent the dawn cleaning sheets, sipping ginger ale, watching cartoons. Normal things, hard things, beautiful things. The guilt didn't vanish. Some mornings I'd still reach for her side of the bed, the cold sheets a fresh wound. Some nights, I'd scream into the steering wheel, furious at her, at myself, at the unfairness of it all. But the kids learned to knock before barging in, to say, "You okay?" To sit with me in the quiet. On the anniversary of her death, we baked pancakes, burnt them on purpose, ate them at the cemetery, syrup dripping onto the grass. Sophie read a poem she'd written. Liam sang a song from Frozen. I told them about the time Clara tried to shave her head herself, pre-chemo, and ended up looking like a mangy poodle. We laughed until we cried. Eric sent a letter last week. A photo of Clara in her hospital bed, mid-laugh, holding up a Jell-O cup like a trophy. On the back she'd written, "Tell the kids I won the food fight. We framed it. Put it beside the lilies. Life isn't a movie. There's no crescendo, no tidy ending. Some days the grief still drowns me. Some days it's just a tide pool, shallow enough to wade through. But we keep breathing, keep planting, and every spring, without fail, the lilies return." The lilies bloomed again this spring. Sophie took a photo, Liam photobombing with a Lego sword, and posted it online. The caption read, "Mom's garden is winning." The comments flooded in, hundreds of them. This story wrecked me. "Daniel, you're a flawed human, but so brave to share this." Clara should have told him. Cancer isn't a free pass to lie. As a nurse, I've seen this happen. Love doesn't always look like what we think. Kids are resilient, but damn, Sophie's "I'm still mad" hit hard. Eric deserved better. Fight me. I read them all. The anger, the empathy, the debates about right and wrong. Someone even wrote a poem about the Lego Knights, but the comment that stayed with me? This isn't about blame. It's about how love survives even when people don't. To everyone who followed this story, thank you. For the rage, the tears, the "what would I have done" debates in the replies. Clara's truth wasn't tidy. Mine wasn't either. But maybe that's the point. Life isn't a Reddit post. It's messy, unfair, and full of people trying their best with the fragments they're given. If you took anything from this, let it be this. Talk. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. And if you're walking through your own storm right now, keep breathing. The lilies always come back. You're not alone. You're allowed to be messy. You're allowed to forgive. And if you need a reminder, plant something. Watch it grow. Thank you for staying until the end. If this story resonated with you, check my other videos here. We've got more raw, real journeys waiting. Because sometimes, the best lessons come from the messiest truths.